Hello and welcome! Over the next few minutes, I'm going to rip through some pretty awesome things you probably don't already know. Or maybe you do. Either way, I hope you find this entertaining. Let's roll. Do you like cheese? Yeah, me too. Did you know that you can eat a few different cheese varieties every single day for an entire year in France? That's because France produces more than 1,600 different kinds of cheeses, and many are protected by strict regional labels. This next one might surprise you. Did you know that bubble wrap was initially designed in 1957 to be textured wallpaper? Yeah. Alfred Fielding and Marc Chavons came up with the idea of sealing two shower curtains together, creating pockets of air between the layers. Unfortunately, the concept never took off. Then in 1960, almost by coincidence, the company IBM needed a solution to safely ship some delicate data processors, and the phenomenon was born. The most widely spoken non-English language in all of mainland Europe, with millions of speakers across the continent, is, yes, German. You might have figured it out since it holds the status of the official language in several countries there. Of all of the 7 seas on Earth, the Caribbean is the deepest. The sea itself drops to a depth of more than 25,000 feet. The Cayman Trough is found between the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Take note. This isn't to be confused with the deepest point of any ocean, which is called the Challenger Deep, located at the southern end of the Mariana Trench in the western Pacific. A very interesting biological study in 2016 came out of the Salk Institute in La Jolla, California, that basically rattled the field of neuroscience. The research team found that the human brain's memory capacity far exceeds previous estimates. They discovered that the typical human brain can store 1 petabyte of information. If you don't know, that's roughly equivalent to 500 billion pages of standard printed text, or 3 million hours of TV shows. Tropical forests are home to 2/3 of the world's biodiversity, even though they cover less than 10% of our planet. This number includes no fewer than an estimated 3 million species of organisms, and could potentially be even higher. They also have a much wider variety of tree species than any other forest. Pretty amazing.
Because a rooster's crow can reach 140 decibels, they have acquired built-in earplugs. Researchers explain that as it tilts its head up to crow, their external auditory canals close, preventing loud sound from coming in and doing damage. Which begs the question, who cockadoodle knew? The very first pizza was made in Naples, Italy, in the late 18th century. It was simple then: tomato, mozzarella, and basil, each representing the colors of the Italian flag. The tradition of blowing out birthday candles dates back to ancient Greece. The Greeks back then were polytheists and believed that blowing out birthday candles would send their wishes to the gods. You think a hurricane is scary? Imagine hurricane winds up to 2,000 kilometers per hour or 1,300 miles per hour. That is a normal occurrence on Neptune, the furthest planet in our solar system. It also ranks as the coldest planet. A United States park ranger named Roy Cleveland Sullivan, who worked at the Shenandoah National Park in Virginia between 1942 and 1977, was struck by lightning 7 different times. Miraculously, he survived them all and lived to the age of 71. The fastest gust of wind ever recorded on Earth was 407 kilometers per hour or 253 miles per hour. In 1996, a tropical storm off the Australian coast produced 5 extreme 3-second wind gusts the peak of which was a 253-mile-per-hour gust.
Would you believe that novel writing was a suspect occupation for women in the early 19th century? This is primarily because it imperiled their social reputation by bringing them publicity and was viewed as unfeminine. Therefore, like many other female writers of the time, Jane Austen published anonymously. The title pages of her novels simply stated they were written by a lady. It wasn't until after her death that her brother revealed her authorship. The former British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, worked as a research chemist before entering politics. She was part of a team that helped develop a method for injecting air into ice cream, making it more affordable for the masses. Considered one of the greatest speeches in history, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, which includes his collection of supreme blessings or beatitudes, has had a profound influence on Christian ethics and has been one of the most widely quoted sections of the Gospels. How about this for a speedy production? The classic movie Casablanca was filmed quickly in 1942 to capitalize on World War II's real-time events. The production was marked by a somewhat improvisational approach, with the script still being finalized and delivered to the cast and crew on a daily basis. It wrapped up production in just 8 weeks and was released less than a year later. Yeah, pretty wicked fast. The word salary comes from the Latin word salarium, which means salt money. This is because in ancient Rome, soldiers were sometimes paid with salt, a valuable commodity at the time, hence the term. The term for the disease malaria comes from the Italian words mala and aria, meaning bad air. Before the discovery of mosquitoes as the cause, it was believed that the disease was spread by foul air in swampy areas. Those were brilliant. Don't you agree? We love the work it takes to get these sorted for you. Do us a favor and like this video and share it with a friend. Cheers.